There are mornings when the light falls on the floor in a tired way, as if it no longer has the strength to wake anyone up. You stand in the quiet kitchen. The ticking of the clock doesn't just fill the room, it lands on your chest, and somewhere inside you, you know it has been a very long time since you allowed yourself to take up space, to need something, to be anything more than the parent who must not become a burden. You wake before the alarm, not because you have rested enough, but because your body has learned shallow sleep. Sleep that feels like a thin sheet laid over old thoughts. The first light of the day moves across the wall. It is pale, soft, almost like the fading breath of someone about to dissolve into the air. You walk through the living room. Your footsteps are so light they barely exist. The house is so quiet you can hear the low, steady hum of machines keeping you company in place of voices. There were days when this room held laughter, names being called, doors opening and closing. Now the silence has a shape of its own. You pick up your phone. There is a message from your child, short, rushed, full of the busy rhythm of this era. You start to type a reply. You erase it. You type again. You erase again. Even a simple, "Have you had breakfast?" feels like you might be interrupting a day already too full. So you put the phone down. You tell yourself, "I'll answer later." Later becomes silence. Afternoon arrives slowly. You boil the kettle, make tea, leave it on the table until it goes cold. The house is so still that even the steam seems to disappear the second it meets the air. In the evening, you clear the table. You wipe every surface a little too carefully, as if the house must always look under control, as if your child walked in suddenly, there should be no trace that you were tired or lonely or waiting. The feeling you carry is not weakness. It is not immaturity. It is not something shameful you have to hide. It is a very specific kind of psychology, the fear of becoming a burden to the very children you love the most. This fear is quiet. It rarely shows up as dramatic tears or loud breakdowns. It comes in small movements, in the way you step back, in the way you choose silence so that other people can feel lighter. There is a certain kind of love that teaches you to disappear first. You are not wrong for feeling this way. You are not too much. You are not overthinking everything. The irony is, the more deeply you love your children, the more you start hiding parts of yourself from them. Not because you don't trust them, but because you don't want to take even a drop of energy away from the life they are trying so hard to hold together. Sometimes love becomes a quiet decision to carry your own weight, no matter how heavy it becomes. This fear of being a burden does not randomly appear in old age. The seed was planted a long time ago. Maybe you grew up in a home where the adults were too busy to listen, where you learned that good children don't disturb anyone, where you understood very early that your needs had to come second, third, or last. Maybe you became used to doing everything by yourself. No complaints, no demands. Maybe you had years where you had to be strong because there was simply no one else who could be. What makes this more complicated is, those early lessons do not vanish when you become an adult. They sink into your nervous system, into the way you breathe, into the way you respond when someone asks if you're okay. Some hearts learn to apologize for existing. Then you have children. You carry those old lessons into your new role without even noticing. You care for them with everything you have. You put your energy, your time, your body, your youth into making sure they are safe. But when it comes to receiving care in return, something in you freezes. You feel guilty for needing help. You feel afraid of making them worry. You remember how you once feared making your own parents tired or stressed. Over time, a familiar pattern settles in. You love by taking everything on yourself, and you stay silent by carrying it alone. Even if your children love you deeply, even if they want to be there, you still tell yourself, I have to stand on my own. I must not become a problem in their life. So you begin to shrink, not because you want to disappear, but because your body has learned this as its way of surviving years of responsibility. You reply to messages more slowly. You say, "I'm fine," even when you're not. You downplay your pain. You minimize your needs. You tell yourself, "They have their own worries. I won't add mine on top." A loop begins. You pull back to protect them. You feel more alone. The loneliness makes you even more afraid to speak, so you pull back again. Protection, isolation, pain. Then stronger protection. What started as tenderness turns into a heavy coat you wear all the time. You make your feelings smaller so their world can feel lighter. But the smaller you become, the more your heart aches under the weight of what is unsaid. You watch your children closely. You hear the tiny changes in their voice. You know when they are under pressure, when they are tired, when they don't want anyone to ask one more question. You are so sensitive to their emotional weather that you silence yourself even on the days when you truly need to be heard. Yet within this, there is a pain without a clear name. You don't know how to be loved without worrying that someone will grow tired of carrying you. Inside your mind, you talk a lot more than anyone realizes. You rehearse what you might say. "I'm a bit lonely these days. I'm not sleeping well. I feel heavier than I look." You imagine their reaction. You imagine the tired look in their eyes. You imagine being told, "I'm busy, can we talk later?" So you erase the sentence before it ever touches the air. There are nights when you lie in the dark listening to the soft whir of a fan or the quiet buzz of the fridge. Time does not rush forward. It doesn't exactly stop either, it just stays flat. You can feel your emotions somewhere in the distance, but it's like they're wrapped in fog, not sharp enough to cry, not bright enough to smile, just a long, neutral grey stretching from one day to the next. Silence becomes a shelter when the world feels too sharp. Sometimes the house feels like a refuge, a place where you can remain quiet without needing to explain yourself. Sometimes the same walls feel like a gentle prison, a container for old habits, for fears that never get spoken. You are not dramatic, you are not seeking attention, you are carrying a very delicate kind of sadness, a kind of exhaustion that doesn't scream, it just seeps into your breathing. The irony is, the very thing that makes you feel like you might be a burden is also proof of how deep your heart truly goes. You notice small details. You love in ways that keep others light. You understand responsibility. You know how to step back and let the people you love move forward. These are not weaknesses. They are signs of a heart that has grown through many difficult years. But that same depth makes it easy for you to turn against yourself, to blame yourself for having needs, to believe that your presence is pressure. In reality, you have never been too much. You have simply become so used to sacrificing that you forget you also deserve to be held. Some people spend their whole life making sure everyone else is comfortable and die never having rested inside their own softness. In your silence, there is a strange strength, the strength of someone who has spent a lifetime loving without asking for anything in return. Around you, the world moves quickly. Screens glow all night. Messages flow every second. Everyone appears busy, productive, endlessly in motion. Your children are pulled into that pace. You see them running from task to task, from obligation to obligation. You notice the tiredness in their shoulders even when they're smiling on a video call. This makes you even quieter. You feel like you belong to another time. A time when sadness was swallowed, when parents had to be strong so that children could focus on their future. What makes this more complicated is, in a culture that idolizes independence, quiet people like you are easily seen as the ones who manage on their own. No one realizes you also need comfort. You also need a hand on your shoulder. You also need to hear, "It's okay to lean on me." Some hearts stay silent because every time they reached out, someone was too busy to notice. The more you watch the speed of modern life, the more you fear adding anything heavy to it. You tell yourself, They already have enough on their plate. I'll be strong. I'll be fine. When night comes, when the traffic noise fades, when the house is lit only by a soft, warm lamp, you feel the weight like a blanket over your chest. Old memories return with surprising clarity. Your child laughing in a smaller body. Family dinners where every chair was full. Nights when you fell asleep, knowing tomorrow would look the same. Now the present feels dimmer, less color, less volume. As if someone has turned the brightness down on your knife. The house remains your safest place, yet it is also where you feel the sharpest edges of your loneliness, a sanctuary and a box. Both at once. You are not wrong for wanting your children to live lightly. You are not weak for fearing you might weigh them down. You are not selfish for stepping back to protect the people you love. But here's the quiet truth. You have never been a burden. You are carrying a heart that is too gentle to add its full weight to anyone else's day. You are not broken. You are tired. You are not invisible. You are cautious. You are not as alone as your thoughts sometimes insist. Some people never show their joy because someone once broke it. Some parents never show their pain because they're afraid their children will carry it. In the long silence of your life, you still deserve to be seen, to be asked, to be held with care. You are not the problem in anyone's story. You are a human being who has loved so hard for so long that you forgot love is allowed to flow both ways. You are not a burden. You are simply someone who loves deeply, quietly, and to the point of disappearing. And in this world, that has never been a crime.